All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here and we are ready. We are very excited. And I want to welcome everybody to this Channel Vision Magazine webinar with CVX Expo Platinum sponsor, Snom Americas. In this presentation, we're going to look at exploring wireless voice security with Snom's lineup of DECT solutions. Now, I'm your moderator, Brady Hicks. I'm the managing editor with Channel Vision Magazine. And joining us is your host for today. He is Snom's Senior Sales Engineer Cloud Service Providers, Simon Bradbrook. Simon, how you doing today?
I'm good, thank you, Brady. How are you?
Doing really well. I want to let you know that Snom Americas is offering a complimentary M500 DECT solution to a lucky attendee. The only catch is you got to stick around through the whole presentation, but that's not going to be that difficult because this is a very fascinating area. So you are going to want to stick around. I remind you that Snom created this webinar to provide you with information. So if you have any questions along the way, just go to the Q&A icon at the bottom of the page. We'll present those questions once the presentation is finished. All right, Simon, enough from me. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Brady, and good afternoon, good morning, everybody, wherever you may be in the world. Just start off here with our mission statement for today, which is in an era where wireless communication is increasingly integral to business operations, securing voice transmissions has become a critical concern. This webinar is going to explore the fundamentals aspects of the wireless voice security. And we're going to have special focus on Snom DECT, as Brady had said there in his introduction. One of the reasons we wanted to do this was we do an awful lot of webinars where we discuss our DECT technology and how that differentiates us from other manufacturers in the market space. And then from talking with our product marketing manager, we decided to put this together, to put a security slant on it, not only to inform you of security that's available to you at the wireless level, but also how DECT actually commonly integrates a lot of this at source. So we'll move forward with our presentation. So encryption voice, it's fundamental to everything. We've got to stop people from eavesdropping all voice calls. It's always been a concern since making the transition from analog to digital to VoIP. How do we keep this secure? And it adds another emphasis to that within the wireless world. So key components of voice encryption are going to be confidentiality. We need to ensure that the voice packets are sent from front to back, or basically that the receiver is getting the actual, it's a secure content from front to start to end. Integrity, ensure that the integrity of the voice packets that is sent, what's sent is basically received. So ensuring there's no rogue forces at play. Sorry, I'm looking for better words here to explain myself. But basically to make sure that nobody is actually interrupting that and sending a false message to the end user. Authentication obviously is important. And now protocols used to support this, we've got SRTP, specifically designed for encrypting and securing voice data. It provides confidentiality, integrity, and a replay protection for RTP, which is the real-time transport protocol stream. There's also another protocol called ZTP, ZRTP, I apologize, Cinnamon RTP, a protocol for establishing encryption keys in VoIP communication, providing a method for end-to-end encryption without the need for prior key exchange as you do with the SRTP. Move on to the next slide. Integrity. Sorry, authentication. I jumped forward there. You had all my excitement. So authentication, proper authentication of endpoints on a network is always important. And some of the key authentication points of importance here. It protects against unauthorized access. So authentication of the endpoint at source is always going to prevent against unauthorized access. It safeguards sensitive data and resources, and it helps in compliance with regulations and standards. If we look at recent SB Senate-based 327, which is a security, oh, I'm looking for the right word here, excuse me. It's a security, it's basically a Senate bill that was implemented 327 to secure endpoints in the voice world, to make sure that everything has password protected from start to back. Challenges with this, obviously, with bad authentication, phishing attacks, and targeting. Now, that's probably more general to a data network. However, if you release that information of what your authentication details are for your endpoint, this can prove to be a problem. Password fatigue leading to a weak or reusing password. I mean, again, as with a data network, it's good practice to make sure that you implement these things at the start so the endpoint is actually secure and ready for use. Now, one of the interesting things I want to bring up about this, and this is why we've brought DECT into this conversation, is that a lot of these features protocols are actually inherently available in DECT. So in the importance of authentication, DECT secure registration. DECT provides portable parts with a secure registration back to the base, and that is authenticated. And again, because DECT works in its own unique environment, its own unique signaling band, that basically is secure from the source. So integrity, obviously a key point here is we need to make sure that the integrity of the voice is good from start to finish. Key aspects here that we have for this authentication, voice integrated ensures that the audio received is exactly the same as it was sent. So that's authenticity. Authentication, message authentication codes or MACs can be used to verify that the voice packets that have been sent have not been altered during transmit. Common algorithms that use this would implement this is SHA 256 or AES. Relay protection measures implemented to prevent attackers from interrupting, then resending integrated voice packets. We also have timestamps. Timestamps is a description of each packet. It's timestamped when it's sent. Therefore, you can actually monitor that so you know it prevents an old voice call going through because of the timestamp that's registered. Protocols like the RSTP, the real-time transport protocol, provide voice integrated features along with the encryption. And the error detection. Techniques such as checksums or hash can detect corruption in the voice data during transmission. Now, the importance of voice integrity, we touched on this at the start. Trust. Ensure that the participant in the conversations can trust what they're hearing to be a genuine communication. Security protects against it's going to protect against the man in the middle kind of attack where somebody could be in the middle manipulating that voice data. And quality of service. This maintains the quality of the communication experience by ensuring clear and accurate audio transmissions. Now, again, what I want to bring to everybody's attention is with DECT, this is inherent in the product from the start. DECT has what's known as frequency hopping. It employs a frequency hopping spread spectrum, which basically voice packets are transmitted over multiple pertaining different frequencies that live within that band of DECT. This prevents anybody, even if they were able to break in to the unique frequency that DECT operates in, there would still be other layers where we can make sure that your voice quality is safe. Network security. Now, this is more going to be traditional to standard network engineering that's going to be protected. The infrastructure is essential, of course, because you've got other wireless devices like Wi-Fi working off of this. And although DECT lives in that realm, it doesn't actually, it sits below all the security that's already in place that's been put there by the network administrator. Network securities, you've got such as firewalls. We have intrusion detections for monitoring network traffic for suspicious activity. There's encryption that we've already touched on before, but there's also protocols such as SSL and TLS that are commonly used for this. Access control, Authentication. We discussed this in previous slides. This allows for the authentication of the endpoint. You know it's real. VPNs is also a big part of this. Virtual private network helps add another layer of security. Antivirus, anti-malware software, again, more targeted at your data devices. However, can be effective in the overall wireless security spectrum. We have network monitoring, back-to intrusion detection, security policies and procedures standard. They're standard in the majority of organizations today. And then finally, we got you'd have to update patch management. Even at a phone level, you need to make sure that the firmware is up to date. There's the latest security patch on there, because it might be a voice device, but it could also be interrupted and played with. Endpoint security. So devices, commonly in communications, smartphones, DECT, anything wireless should be secured against unauthorized access. And this includes using up-to-date operating systems and applying patches where required. So device authentication, we have encryption provided with protocols such as SRTP and ZRTP that we discussed earlier in the presentation. Access, control, restrict who can use the maximum endpoints. This is something that would normally be operated by a network administrator, but it again implements the roles. You can implement role-based access control, which basically separates the admin users from a user. So that only the admin user has the complete rights to change anything, whereas a user cannot. This also adds to that extra layer of security. Endpoint monitoring. You've got tools like DMS that support monitoring at a network level to continuously check health and to secure the voice endpoints. Regular software updates and patch management. We talked about this in the previous slide, but like data endpoints, a phone is up to date and healthy when those patches are constantly implemented with regular firmware updates. Firewalls and network segmentation. This is a big thing, specifically when using wireless technology, more geared towards Wi-Fi voice. But when you make sure that the network is segmented correctly so that the voice is on a separate path from data, that not only ensures the continuity of the voice and the quality of the voice, however, it also keeps it safer as well. And user training and awareness. Now, education in these instances is always the key to determining when we need to keep everything safe. And finally, we're going to go on to security protocols. Security protocols that are used to actually implement this at a voice level, specifically to wireless. We have SRTP. We've talked about this before. It provides authentication integrity to RTP streams. The same with the ZRTP. Sorry, I'm talking English here when I say ZRTP. So the Zinnemann real-time transport protocol provides that voice encryption as it does with SRTP. However, does it differently by requiring a P without requiring a key prior to the exchange. The features for this is key management or key agreement to generate session keys. It also provides secure method for authenticating all participants, and it's designed to be easily implemented within any existing VoIP application. Other security protocols with SIP, you have SIPs, SIPS, this being the secure version of the SIP transport protocol. Using TLS to encrypt the voice packets, this can also be supported over Wi-Fi. And again, I'll reiterate, all of these protocols that we're talking about are actually resident within DECT at source. RTP and TCP, real-time transport control protocol, not inherently secure, but with the protocol, however, can incorporate security when combined with SRTP, and this will significantly increase the real-time protocol. So as I said at the beginning of the presentation, I wanted to talk security not only from the fact of our products will support them, but I really wanted to home in on the idea that wireless voice security is very important in today's technology. Within Snom, one of the things that differentiates us from the majority of manufacturers out there is our DECT products, how we can differentiate. We offer a product range that goes from SMB or micro SMB through to SMB and then all the way into enterprise, where all of these security protocols are in place. And as I said before, the majority of these protocols are actually resident on the DECT solutions at source. So the first in our series is the Snom M100. This is a micro DECT solution for micro SMB. It's basically a single cell solution that supports 3 types of portable parts. We have a fully functioning desk set and 2 types of handsets. The difference between the two is the fact that one is ruggedized, the second is not. Where we really differentiate though with this system is it actually emulates an old-fashioned key system. So if you've got a partner that's sort of reluctant to move into the world of voice over IP, here's the baby steps to take them in there. The way we do this is that we one of the accounts on the base station can be offered up as shared, and you assign the handsets to access to that shared account. As calls come in, every single device on the network that's sharing that line will actually get an alert for the call coming in. The line keys on the portable parts there light up, and as with old-fashioned key systems, you can basically take the call on line 1, then page across the office and tell a colleague to pick up line 1. Moving up the scale a bit into our SMB solution, this is the next generation of the M100. This is the M500. Verticals that we are targeting here, we could have medical offices or medical facilities, car showrooms, garages where work's been done on cars. They've got the restaurant and the retail side of things as well. Essentially, it's an updated version of our micro, but it's actually become more powerful and a little bit more flexible. The system itself now has a fully functioning desk set that not only has the line keys that are provisionable on there, but has 3 pages of them. So it gives you an opportunity to actually install the system as a complete wireless solution with extensions on each handset. We also have the 2 handsets that come with it. We've got the ruggedized M56 and the regular M55. Now, again, like the M100, what differentiates this from any other DECT device is the fact that we have the provisional line keys here, which allows you to actually emulate a key system, and as I said before, but we've also got patented DECT solution on here, which is one of the things called a DECT busy lamp monitoring. Often people came to us and asked, could we emulate or could we support BLF on a DECT solution? Unfortunately not, because that's a DECT with the BLF is a SIP signal down to the base, and then how do you get that across to the handset or the device that's running off the DECT solution? And the way we've done this, we've actually patented our own solution, which is called DECT busy lamp monitoring. So in the solution where you've got a small office that's up to 16 users, they don't have the wiring infrastructure there, this is the perfect solution to give them a telephone system at a low cost. Not only that, it allows them to jump into the VoIP world. As we said there, we've got our the breakdown here of the system. We have a DECT base station. That's where all the brains are. Each one of these stations will support up to 8 registered accounts and 8 registered devices. We can support the fully functioning desk set, both handsets. Each one of the devices comes with integrated Bluetooth, and all are built with antibacterial plastic. And then we get to the, if you like, the Cadillac of our solution. This is the M900 series. This is the DECT solution that's actually suitable for any enterprise. It's scalable from 1 base station supporting 30 handsets, going all the way up to 1,000 base stations that will support 4,000 handsets. The solution itself, as you can see there, we've got secure TLS and SRTP, which is what we discussed before. And as I said before, we've also got the DECT M900 outdoor unit base station, which basically is not just inside a case. That unit is actually sealed and ready for any kind of weather. I think it was actually tested down to -30 centigrade and up to probably around about the 43-degree mark for heat outside. One of the things that makes the M900 multi-cell solution that much different is any wireless installation. The success of the wireless installation is normally driven by good your site survey is. Normally that involves you going out and buying expensive equipment such as spectrum analyzers to measure the air frequencies. But we actually give you this inside as part of the software package for the M900. Each handset will support a mode where it can put it into site survey mode. And that allows you to get the RSSI measurement off the base station, and then you can actually map your installation out to make sure that you can cross those signals and make sure that everything's working correctly. And that brings us to the end of this presentation. We have here the web address for snowamericas.com, and my contact details are in line below.
All right. Great job, Simon. Really interesting stuff. And let me remind you guys also that in addition to reaching out to Simon and Snom using the contact information you can see there, attendees at CVX Expo 24 can also visit the company at booth 1001. Ready to jump into some questions, Simon? We had a little bit of
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let me remind you guys, for those who are interested in participating, there's a Q&A tab on the bottom of the screen there, and that will allow you to submit questions for Simon to answer. The first one kind of coming in, Simon, does the Snom multi-cell solution, does it support repeaters?
It does support repeaters. It's a good question, actually, because the answer I have to that is I never normally recommend repeaters. The problem is with a repeater on a wireless installation is it often injects power back into the network. If you don't actually position those in the optimum position, and what I mean by that is right on the edge of the signaling strength, that can often cause you more problems. What I always recommend with the M900 is actually it's actually more cost effective and more beneficial if you actually install another base station. Because the great thing about multi-cell solution is you could stand two base stations side by side, but the worst it's going to actually do is double your call control in that specific zone that you're in. It's never actually going to cause interruption to power. So yes, we do support repeaters. However, personally, I don't actively encourage you to install those unless it's that specific case where it's just on the edge where you need that small area covered.
It's now multi-cell. Does it support accessories? And if so, what kind of accessories?
Okay, yeah. So the multi-cell solution, yes, it supports a headset as well that can act as a headset that's paired to a specific device, but it can also be paired as a handset, so it has its own extension. Where that might be useful is if you've got a large warehouse where you've got a forklift driver. All they've literally got to do, they could have the headset on, they've just like literally push the button to answer the call. Because the only drawback with that is that there's no dialer with that. So if you haven't got a handset with it, but when we looked at opportunities there were like call centers where they're accepting incoming calls only, that's probably going to remove 30% of the real estate that they got on their desk because literally all they've got a headset at that point.
Yeah, all right, very good. Now, this person wants to know about the implementation that have multiple DECT solutions. Can the multiple DECT solutions kind of operate in the same building or facility?
They can, but it's not recommended. There's a couple of scenarios you can do. I often come back to here. The M500, for example, we have partners that install this on one base station per floor.
Okay.
But those base stations are not talking to each other. So they're basically independent. However, because they've connected to a cloud service, extensions in the top floor can call extensions in the bottom floor. The reason this can happen is because with DECT and multi-cell, where you get interference is if you're walking around with a portable part and you're crossing zones. In that particular example, you're not actually crossing zones because each desk has its own desk phone, one of the DECT devices. So therefore, it's not portable. It's not being carried around the building. So you will never get the signals that cross, so they can be kept separately.
Okay. Now this person wants to know, when you're executing, say, a site survey,
Yeah,
Does the Snom base require an IP connection for that?
no, it does not. And that's
Wow.
actually quite a unique thing here. So I actually have a site survey kit that I kind of built just to help out other partners when they're doing this. And essentially, all you need is power to the base station. And then basically you provide power to the handset, and then you put the handset in site survey mode while you're standing by that base station. And it actually detects the MAC address. And once you've got the MAC address, then you can select that, and then that starts giving you the RSSI measurements that are so important for that.
Okay, very good. Now this person wants to know, and just kind of pick your brain here. Sort of practical advice for enforcing voice security on a budget. Any ideas as far as that?
Practical advice for okay, I'd say buy a DECT solution because they're inherently secure. That would be my primary advice there. It comes down, obviously though, seriously, things like this come down to it's common sense. You've got to look at what you've practically got available to you and how you can secure that.
Okay, and last one here. And once again, if anybody else has any questions, feel free to use the Q&A tab there on the bottom of the screen. But otherwise, I think we're almost good to clear it out. So Simon, based on your experience, what are some of the pitfalls that could maybe jeopardize a deployment?
What you mean, a multi-cell deployment?
I assume so, yes.
Yeah, okay. Every time it's site survey. Doing that site survey is so critical because there's a signaling strength, a range. I think we will go up to 90 dB line of sight from handset to base, and we can secure that signal. When you're in a multi-cell environment, you actually want to cross those signals over, because then what that will do is it will support the roaming. So when you're moving around a building, you go from one cell to the next, and then from a user's perspective, that means that the transition is seamless. You could be talking on the phone, and you would have no idea you've just moved to another cell because you don't hear any noise on the line as you transition. That's why I always get back to it. If you do the site survey correctly, then I've seen it actually happen with this M900 solution. You can install it and you can walk away with confidence that you've got a solid system there that's not going to let you down.
And that's a really good thing for sure. Simon, I think that's going to do it for the webinar and Q&A portion. I want to thank you for your time here today.
Thank you for inviting me, and I do apologize for all the technical issues we had at the start there.
Oh, well, that's quite all right. Technical issues happen all the time. But if you guys want to reach out to Snom's senior sales engineer for cloud service providers, Simon Bradbrook, once again, the contact information is right there on the screen. I also wanted to let you all know that the winner of the Snom M500 DECT solution will be contacted after the webinar by a representative from the company. Also, a reminder that if you missed any part of this webinar, you can find it, as well as other past Channel Vision presentations, on demand just by visiting our website at channelvisionmag.com. Simon, I also wanted to mention, because you guys are a platinum sponsor and we're really excited for this affiliation, CVX Expo 24. It returns to the Talking Stick Resort in Scottsdale, Arizona, third year running. That's November 12th through 14th. And you can come visit at booth 1001, as well as meeting room Roadrunner B. Now, CVX attendees and exhibitors include TSDs, MSPs and resellers, trusted advisors and consultants, wholesale communications, cloud solution, business IT and security providers. An all-inclusive ticket grants channel partners access to everything that the event has to offer. And for more information, as well as to register, visit cvxexpo.com. And Simon, once again, it's been a really great presentation, and thank you so much for the time.
Thanks ever so much. Appreciate everybody listening.
And from all of us at Channel Vision Magazine and our good friends with Snom, take care. Be good to one another. Bye-bye.